Welcome, everybody, into the Beginner's Guide to Winning at the Kentucky Derby 2025. I'm joined here with Andrew Champagne. Talk a little horsies, little ponies on the, as they say around the way. We're going to talk the 2025 Kentucky Derby. You're going to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop in the comment section too. By the way, who's going to win? All right, who's your favorite? We want to know as much as you want to know what we're betting. I want to know what you're betting. So drop it in the comment section what you're into for the Derby on Saturday, May 3rd. Correct?
May 3rd. Yes. You got it. First Andrew Saturday Champagne. In May, Lenny.
Perfect. Yeah, first Saturday in May. Everybody knows that, right? We're going to talk some horses. We're not going to break down every detail of every horse. There's some long shots. There's some favorites. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Andrew is an abundance of information when it comes to the Derby. So he's going to be the expert in this situation. I'm you people. You guys, you people that are watching, I'm the people's degenerate, as I call myself.
Whether you want to be or not.
Whether I want to be or not, I've signed up for this job. Okay. So I'm going to ask the questions that I feel like, and apologize if they sound like a dumb question. I know there's no dumb questions or anything like that, but I am the epitome of the guy that bets the Derby. I bet horses once a year, and it's for the Kentucky Derby. I'll do it with my 5-year-old nephew. I'll do it with, give him $5 to bet on the Derby. It's all in fun, folks. Okay. I mean, here, there, we bet with the kids here. And my daughter, a couple years, bet on a horse named Hot Rod Charlie because her name is Charlie. Okay. I mean, it makes sense, right? So Andrew, I'm just looking at the board right here, based off of the board, no numbers, just based off names, just based off that. I'm going with Rodriguez because of Malcolm Rodriguez plays for the Detroit Lions. So I'm going Malcolm Rodriguez. I'm going with journalism because I feel like that's kind of what we do in a roundabout way. And Titstastic. And if I have to explain to you why I'm going with Titstastic, you don't know me at all, folks. So, Andrew, how's that trifecta looking right off the gate?
Before we go any further, you mentioned Hot Rod Charlie. That was a very good year for me. I had Medina Spirit, who wound up winning that year's Kentucky Derby at, I believe, 13-1. And that was a pretty big hit for me. So I appreciate the nostalgia rush going on there.
Right.
So Kentucky Derby, race number 12 at Churchill Downs on Saturday, May 3rd. You mentioned Rodriguez as the very first name there. I am not sold on Rodriguez, but I know a bunch of smart people that very much are. Bob Baffert trains Rodriguez. He has been away from the Kentucky Derby for several years. He trained Medina Spirit. Medina Spirit had a drug test that came up dirty. There was a very long, very ugly legal fight. I got parodied on Saturday Night Live, actually. That's how you know you've made it, right? But Baffert has been away from the Derby for several years. His horses were not allowed to earn Kentucky Derby qualifying points. He's got 2 in this year's Kentucky Derby. Rodriguez is one of them. He comes in off of a win in the Wood Memorial at Aqueduct. What I think compromises him is, think of this like a foot race, right? If you're out in front early and there's nobody pressuring you and you're able to take your foot off the gas just a little bit, you're able to save more energy for when the real running starts.
Right.
But if you have a whole bunch of people pressing you and you're getting hounded, what happens? You go faster, you're going to get tired. And I think that's the situation Rodriguez is faced with on Saturday, because he's one of a couple of horses that really want to go early. You did, however, mention my top pick and the likely betting favorite. That's horse number 8, Journalism. Journalism is 2 for 2 this year in Southern California. He's beaten a couple of Bob Baffert trainees. Last time out, he won the Santa Anita Derby, which is California's usual big-time prep race for the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
The question with him is, he's been running against very short fields of horses. California doesn't have a lot of horses at that top level anymore. Most of them are trained by Baffert, the one guy. So he's been running against horses, 4 or 5 horses apiece, as opposed to horses that are coming out of races with 8 or 10 runners. The Kentucky Derby has 20. There's going to be traffic trouble. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? So people are a little bit unsure as to how Journalism is going to be able to handle that. I don't have those reservations with him because in the Santa Anita Derby, He was ridden with the idea to teach him something. It was only a 5-horse field, but he came back covered in dirt. It was almost as if the jockey Umberto Rispoli had the mindset of, look, we're going to the Derby regardless. We have enough points.
We're
Let's
gonna get
teach him
dirty.
how to work through traffic. He worked through traffic and he wound up winning the Santa Anita Derby regardless. I don't think the distance is going to be a problem. I think he's a very legitimate favorite. The question is, what price do you want on him? He's going to be 5-2 or 3-1 in the Kentucky Derby. It's a little bit short, but I do think he's legitimate. You mentioned another horse, Tiztastic, and I need to emphasize the Z as opposed to the way you said it, just in case.
Whatever.
Yep. So
depends on what part of the country you're from.
So he comes in off of a win in the Louisiana Derby, which is 1 3/16. It's as close as you're going to get to the Kentucky Derby's 1.25 mile distance. He is bred to go all day. The distance is not going to be what beats him. He is trained by Steve Asmussen, who's a Hall of Fame trainer that's probably the best trainer never to have won the Kentucky Derby. He had Epicenter a couple of years ago when a horse named Rich Strike upset the Kentucky Derby at odds of 80-1. If you had Rich Strike out there, more power to you. You're probably not watching
incoming after story incoming.
Okay, good. So I had Epicenter that day. He ran huge. He was second. He was the best 3-year-old in the country that year. Steve Asmussen has 2 runners in here. He also has a horse named Publisher. But I like Tiztastic a little bit because he's an honest, hard-trying horse, and diving a little deeper into the form. If you look at the form, you're not just going to see races. You're going to see workouts. One thing I have found with Steve Asmussen is when he has a horse going really well, the work 2 works back is a very big workout. And the most recent work is a maintenance move because he has the horse already right where he wants him. You don't need to do a lot.
Right.
Tiztastic fits that bill. I don't know if he's good enough to win, but if you're playing exactas and trifectas where you're trying to pick the top 2 or 3 horses, I'd absolutely throw him in underneath at a price.
Okay. Quick story, Rich Strike, youngest child, couple years back, Rich Strike's running. I tell all the kids, you get like $5, you bet on a horse to win, whatever, right? And that's my version of getting them all to watch. It's a family event. It's great. He says, I want Rich Strike. I said, Brendan, at the time, it was right before the race, it was like 99-1. I'm like, Brendan, before I got it, $5 is $5. Like, still, I'm like, hey, why explain to me? He was like 8 at the time. Explain to me why you want him. He goes, look at his record. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, look, it's 99-1. He's won 99 races. And I'm like, It was I saw it and I was like, I got to break this kid's heart right now and tell him that's not the case. And then he picked another horse, and then Rich Strike came back, and he was so I think he's still mad at me.
I would be. I would be too.
He reminds me probably at least 3 times a year how much money I cost him, and then so it was hard. The Derby's is still a little sore spot for Brendan. I'll just say that. I like what you're saying here about some of these horses here. I've heard a few stories about a horse, Sandman, too. Gotta love that name. I mean, if you're a Metallica fan, every Metallica fan is going to bet Sandman. Okay.
Precisely.
For sure. And I'm looking at odds at like around 6-1 is where I'm seeing that around. Thoughts on him?
So Sandman comes in off of a win in the Arkansas Derby, which is another big prep race. The thing with Sandman is he is a son of a horse named Tappet. Tappet has proven to be a very, very good sire, a father of horses.
Mm-hmm.
Offspring of Tappet are, to put it mildly, insane.
Okay.
Tappet's, they have a screw loose. And Sandman has a history of finding trouble in races. He'll run into traffic. He'll be very difficult to ride. He's got a lot of talent, and the Arkansas Derby set up perfectly for what he wanted to do. That analogy I made earlier, they went very, very, very fast early. Okay. Sandman lagged way back, made one big run. He is absolutely talented enough to win this race, but I think he needs a perfect trip to do it. And look, we're all bettors here. We're all looking in the pursuit of value. I'm going to need a significantly bigger price on Sandman than I'm likely to get. He's 6-1 on the morning line. For the reason you mentioned with all of the casual money, I think he comes down I think he is your second choice. I actually much prefer the horse directly to his outside, Sovereignty, who was second last time out in the Florida Derby. Horrible post, way outside. The race didn't set up for him. I thought his race 2 back in the Fountain of Youth was excellent. There's one other horse I do want to spotlight before we wind up bidding the good folks out there adieu, and that's horse number 10, Grande. Grande ran second to Rodriguez in the Wood Memorial. That was just the right. Yes, Todd Pletcher trains, and a gentleman named Mike Rapoli owns the horse. If you have Netflix, you may have seen the horse racing miniseries Race for the Crown. Mike Rapoli is very prominent, very loud, and he's exactly the same on horse racing Twitter, people. You get what you pay for. But Grande in the Wood Memorial was making just his 3rd career start. He is very inexperienced. Todd Pletcher has said he wants all the distance he can handle. So stretching out to 1.25 miles is not going to be a problem. I very much like his running style too. He is not a horse that's going to sit back and make one massive late run. He's a grinder, which I think may make him a candidate to sit the ideal trip just off of the early speed and be the horse that the closers have to run down turning for home. I'm not sure he's good enough to win. I do think there's room for improvement. And I think the 20-1 morning line is a bit of an overlay. He's another one that I put in the Tiz-tastic camp of if you're playing exactas and trifectas, throw Grande in there, horse number 10.
All right. I got 2 more questions quickly for you. One, oh, damn, I just had, first of all, the gray horses. Just tell me right now, do you just automatically bet them?
No.
Damn it. So I've been doing this whole thing wrong the whole time. Okay. So I just bet the gray horses automatically because they're gray. Second question is just for the people that don't bet horse racing all the time. What's the best, simplest, like a trifecta, an exacta? Explain the difference between. I mean, obviously it's a 2 horses, 3 horses, but just a basic. What should they bet right out the gate? Not necessarily what horse, but what's a simple bet when you're betting horses?
So I mentioned the way the win odds work. And if we're referring to journalism, he's 3-1. So if you bet $1, if journalism wins, you get back $4, your original dollar plus an additional 3.
Correct.
Compare that to sports betting, where oftentimes you're getting -110. That's less than even money. For that reason, if you're someone that has no idea what they're looking at, if you're somebody that's turned on the Kentucky Derby with 20 minutes to post, you've downloaded a horse racing betting platform that you can use on one of these things, just bet to win. Honestly, that's probably the simplest and most efficient way to do it. Also, because there are 20 horses in the field, the money is going to go a variety of different directions. Your favorite in a normal 5, 6, 7 horse field would be less than 2-1. Journalism is still going to be 3-1. It's not going to be anything you're going to get rich off of. But if you like journalism and he wins, you're never going to see 3-1 on him again because he won the Kentucky Derby. And also in a big field like that, your 3rd, 4th, and 5th choices, they're going to be 8-1, 10-1, 12-1. That's significant value. I would recommend just betting to win, keeping it simple, doing it that way. And if you wind up picking a Kentucky Derby winner, in addition to the money, you get a heck of a story that you can tell for quite a while.
Exactly. There it is, folks. There's your beginning guide to winning the Kentucky Derby. Don't bet what you don't have. Just have fun with it. Maybe pick a horse by the name, color, whatever you like, just to win and be done with it. If you want to get rich, well, that's a whole nother video.
Well, if you want to get rich, I will tell you that I will be making an effort to do that. I will have betting guides and some spot plays for Friday and Saturday at Churchill Downs available on the Rake Tech websites. There will be a link down below in the description where you can get to my handicapper pages on all of those sites. So by all means, keep a lookout for that. We're recording this on Tuesday, April 29th. Those will be up by the end of the day on Wednesday, April 30th. They'll be priced very reasonably, and I'm going to make things a little bit easier for you too. You can use the promo code CHAMP20 for 20% off any item in the handicapping store.
Boom. There you go, Andrew Champagne. We appreciate you stopping by, talking some horses. We'll see you guys on the next one. Good luck, unless you're against us. Take care.